everybody. So today I'm on a different vehicle. I'm in the F-150. Love this truck. I'm not giving it as much attention as I'd love to. Since I got the Lexus. Haven't been giving it as much attention as I wanted to. I wanted to do wheels, a lift, etc. But it didn't work out that way, so perfectly fine. It's majorly different. It rides different. It's kind of weird being so smooth, but it's a nice drive. Especially given that it's a truck, you don't really anticipate that it's going to be great to ride in. But I think at some point in time, I'll either upgrade it or simply just do what I want to it. The only problem with the F-150 before 2015, when they released the aluminum trucks, first and foremost, they're not military grade. Perhaps military grade aluminum was used, but you know, they're just a truck like anything else. Maybe they don't rust as easily, so that's gonna be the major difference. But I love the F-150. Anyway, in this video I wanted to talk about vehicles that well, specifically the vehicles that I have. So is a 200,000 mile Lexus IS F worth it? Is it a good purchase? Should you hold out and spend, you know, $7,000-$10,000 on a nice example? So my answer to that is it depends. If it's a car that you plan on keeping a long time, that you're super picky about it being sorted, then no, don't buy a 200,000 mile Lexus IS F, because things are going to wear out. And I want to emphasize the words wear out, because things aren't breaking. Things are just wearing out, just like any normal car. I don't care if you're driving the most reliable Toyota Corolla in the world. Things are going to wear out. You're going to need to replace them. If you're okay with that, by all means. Hell, even one with 100,000 miles, 150,000 miles, these are high mile cars regardless, whether you like it or not. The trick is to find one that has been well taken care of, and ideally one with records, service records, to prove that it's been taken care of. As I've said in my previous videos, I got lucky. I didn't have service records on hand, but most of the service was done throughout its entire life at a Lexus dealership. So I created an account on Lexus, on the Lexus USA website. I put the VIN in of my car, and I found all the records that the previous owners had done to the car. Unfortunately, I didn't find any records since, I think it was 180,000 miles, so 20,000, 30,000 miles of somebody owning this car, I didn't have any records of. So for all I know, it could have been some kid that didn't take care of it. And that's not too far off from what I would expect. It's in good condition, all things considered, for the price I paid, for the miles that it has. There's only a few issues that I found. One is the aftermarket headlights, which are an issue with the headlights. They're not Lexus made, so it's inevitable. So that's not a mark off it being a Lexus vehicle. If you have OEM, I know they last forever, virtually. And then you replace headlights like you normally would in any other car, except for unless you have HIDs, or I don't recall if they came with LEDs at that point. But the short answer is yes. If you are perfectly fine and acknowledge that you're going to have a car that needs maintenance, you should buy a 200,000 mile Lexus IS F. Because at the end of the day, those cars can take abuse. They're built to take abuse. And with it being a Lexus product, you shouldn't run into any issues where it's dramatically, going to require a lot of money. Worst case scenario, and then the valley plate leak, which is, I've heard as low as $800, but it sure as hell beats. It sure as hell beats going to spend, $6,000 to $7,000 on another performance vehicle that had maintenance done to it. So, like, let's say you buy a Dodge Charger RT or something with a V8, let's just say, because they have so many options that I lose track. You buy a Dodge Charger, it has, I hate to say it, but it's probably not going to get to 200,000 miles. So let's say it has 100,000 miles, and the engine goes. That engine is going to cost you $3,000 to $4,000, probably minimum, to replace. And on top of that, you also have to pay for the different engine components. You're going to need gaskets. You're going to need anything replaced that needs replaced. You're going to need to either your time is valuable, either having to pay somebody to do it for you. So the way I see it, the Lexus IS F is a good all-around vehicle to purchase for fun. The only time I will say, there's a few things that I would say I don't totally like about my vehicle, but I live with, and I'm okay with. I could live with it. In a perfect world, the IS F would have come in a manual. Now, mind you, the paddle shifters are great. They were the best pedal shifters in the market during its time. But the bottom line is, you can't beat that feeling of being in a car, especially a performance car, with a manual transmission. You're just not going to beat it. So you have that. You have the OEM suspension, which inevitably you're going to have to replace because of the harsh ride if you didn't get a 2011 and later or earlier rather. You'd have to replace that. Other than that, I mean, a lot of the components are Lexus. You're not buying, with the exception of like certain things like brakes. The suspension is unique. Obviously the engine isn't a regular Lexus IS 250 or 350, because the IS 250 came in at a 4-cylinder, and I believe they offer the 6-cylinder, and then the 350 comes with a V6. So the engine you're not going to find anywhere if you do manage to blow it. And I know that a lot of fanatics say this, but if you maintain the vehicle properly, if you do proper maintenance, if you pay attention to the oil levels, make sure you're not burning anything in oil, make sure you're not overstressing the engine, keeping the temperatures low. I could see it lasting 300,000 miles, if not longer. If you look at forums on Club Lexus and the like, you can find Lexus IS F vehicles with upwards of 250,000 miles, and it's not like an M3, it's not like a Dodge Charger, it's not like competitive vehicles as such. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them with in excess of 200,000 miles, and even more with 100,000 miles. And mind you, not a lot were made to begin with. but knowing that they are still on the road is very promising. So in my personal experience, just to summarize, it is worth it. It is ultimately worth it to buy the Lexus IS F high miles. If I was anybody else, and if I wasn't driving in the snow, if it was a weekend car, maybe I would look into buying a lower mile one, something with records, and something that I would be keeping a long time. The other thing I balanced here was the fact that I didn't want to pay a bunch of money on this car, let's say $30,000, just to take it apart. I mean, you could sell the parts, mind you. Headlights, for example, have gone anywhere from $800 to $1,200 on these cars. So somebody who swapped out the VLAN headlights made a profit, if anything.